So yesterday was a little bit of a bust for us in the sense that we had some really high straight line winds, and as much as I wanted to record yesterday, I just couldn't. So I apologize, we don't have much video from yesterday. The camera fell twice, and the second time I thought, you know what, probably just as well to leave it down and not risk breaking it and not being able to do record. So it is what it is. Primarily, and I'll show you there in a little bit, but primarily yesterday what I got done was actually finishing the 40 foot by 40 foot in-ground bed from its initial breakup. So I actually have some video footage of that. It took, I would say I spent at least good 4 or 5 days doing pretty much just that bed. So we'll show you some video footage of that. And then today, it's all about getting ready for me, daylight savings time. So, you hear a lot of people talking today about daylight savings time. Is it, for farmers, is it good, is it bad? For me, daylight savings time actually is more of a challenge. Working, my standard job and then coming home to try to do the homesteading stuff in the evening, that's not easy when it's dark by the time I get home. So I know we've got probably a good 5 weeks, 6 weeks before, the time starts turning in our favor and days start getting longer. So I've got to figure out how to adjust to that particular time frame. Now what that could mean is, I just do things inside the house of an evening. Could mean I save all my barn chores to get the barn ready for the spring, which is what I did last year to get it organized and straightened. But of course it can get a little chilly in there, so we just kind of take those days as they come. But that's a good thing I could be doing in the evening when it's too dark to actually do anything outside. Today, on the other hand, it's going to get up into the low 70s, which I will get rid of this sweatshirt, I'm sure, here in about an hour or so, and try to get some stuff done. So I still have all the leaves, and they didn't all blow away yesterday, so I'm actually pretty happy about that. But I also have to start getting some of the amendment stuff ready for the garden bed that I just tilled under, and I've got, let me see, I actually have a truck bed with some sawdust in it that my neighbor gave me, and I'm going to take that and kind of mix it in with some of the cow manure to start breaking down, make it a little bit more spreadable on the garden. So a lot of little things I need to do today to get us ready for when it's too dark, because then I can only work on the weekends. Challenging thing right now is this will be our first winter with the cows, and watering chickens in the wintertime wasn't really a problem because we could fill up the buckets at the house. We could take it down from inside the house, and I don't know how we're going to handle with the cows this year because I can't do a 300-foot garden hose. It will freeze. So yeah, got to be thinking about that strategy as we go into next week. This week again above freezing, but looking at the weather outlook, I saw a couple days next week that it's going to be in the upper 20s of an evening as a low, and that is definitely going to be enough to where the outside faucets need to be turned off to keep them from freezing, because they are not frost free, and I have not been in a position yet to be able to replace those with frost free. So enough talking, I guess. I got some things I got to get done, so let's go get some morning activities out of the way and see what we can get accomplished. So what I am after this morning, that's a little soft back here, is basically create a spot I can mix my manure with a lot of carbon. Oh, if I can get that open. So this sawdust, which I did make sure has no cedar in it, it's going to be a really good start to that. And then I have a bunch of pine bedding that has come out of the stalls or the chicken coop, stuff like that. And I'll do a really heavy carbon, and what I want is to get it all mixed together and then till that into the garden area and let it sit over the winter. So it'll have December, January, February, March, and probably going on April, May before I really plant in it. So it's plenty of time for some of that material to break down and become usable and really kind of help that soil from going back to the compaction problems that I had. So some of it was like breaking stone in order to get it up, and it was grassy and everything, but I'd say it had been just packed down over years and years and years, and trying to get it growable, right? But that said, I'm gonna get this sawdust out of here. What's up, little one? You can see by all the dust why I didn't want to do this in the high winds yesterday, because I'm sure I would have worn or breathed in way too much of it.
Nobody told me to settle down. Day nights and late nights don't get around. But there's something about you I like, about you I like. You're crazy for saying I should slow down, but maybe I'm escaping the love we found. There's something about you I like, about you I like. I get too drunk and too scared and lie to you. If only you knew I'm...
So I will say that comes out much easier, especially with the lip in the tailgate, than rocks, dirt, manure, pretty much anything I've held before. So I'm happy with that.
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. No mistake ever kept me late. We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church set the pace. Daydreamer, kidnap me. Take me back, all the way back to them days. Running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot.
So the other thing that I have that is free on this property that will work well is leaves. So this is the right time of year, and I have a huge pile that I am saving to put for the kids to jump in before we use them. Most of those will all go in with the chickens to let them break it down, and then we'll compost it. But for this purpose, I think I should be able to get a pretty good pile just out of this one section in the back, and that can get mixed in as well as additional carbons, break down and add that material into the dirt to keep it a little bit looser and fluffier and draining better for next year.
Driving through the New York rain, roll down my window and let the rain in. You call me by my name, too late to turn home, we chase the night away. Come along, come along, come along, come away. Let's dance to whatever, something to remember.
I got all of that material brought over that I had on the side, and most of it is what's left from where we have changed out chicken bedding or where we had the cows in the stall. It's not very well decomposed. Some of it's pretty decomposed, others is not. So I'm gonna mix this all together and literally just kind of sandwich it in. So I'm gonna mix it up with, you know, leaves and pine shavings that were left over, and of course manure from the cows. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of mix all that together. And you know, the great part about this is if it doesn't turn out the way I hope that it will, because this is the first time I've ever tried to do it, then it eventually I can make it just decompose all the way down, and you know, I'm good. So it's not like I'm gonna hurt anything other than spending some time to get all this mixed up.
All right, so all I did, forgot to grab my camera, was just pull out the roast and shred it. And then I was gonna make homemade French bread and homemade home fries, but it was kind of a rougher night's sleep here tonight. So Mother went and got me these buns here, these like hoagie rolls, and I just put some butter on them. And I've got them heating up in the oven, and then we'll assemble the sandwich. And over here in the air fryer, I just have some crinkle cut fries going. All right, now this is ready. And all I'm gonna do here is just take some of this roast beef and put some on these buns.
Well, so far this is actually doing pretty good. I mixed up probably about half of it and had a really rich soil-like kind of texture to it. So I went ahead and mixed everything else together. You can see it back there. I have more manure to add to it, and I have plenty more leaves. So what I found so far that has worked pretty well is, as I've started mixing it together, and some of the bedding I had already started to decompose, so it was a little moist. Plus with the manure that I added, some of it's a little fresher than others. I just kept adding more carbon to it, so leaves, the dried pine shavings that we had saved, as I just kind of kept mixing that in until it got to where it really wasn't quite so muddy-ish. and it just kept up tilling really nicely. So I'm gonna continue that process here, and so that's what I have so far. Well, lost my camera view there. But I think I have enough in this batch to actually do the whole garden and then some. I'm gonna kind of keep going at it though, because I could also use some of this for raised garden beds in the spring. And so it's not gonna hurt me if I mix up more than what I need today. It's only gonna help me when it comes time to get those other garden beds done. So I am gonna take a break and get a drink, and then I'm gonna get back to tilling some more. So I'll show you the update here in just a few. On my way back from a break, I thought I would stop and show you how our garlic is doing. So we have it in 3 different beds, and you can see there's several sprouts in this bed that have already come up. And then if we come over to the larger of the beds, this one's got several sprouts. It is, I would say, probably 50% germinated from what I can tell. Now, that's not to say there isn't more under the straw, but that straw is thick. I put it on several inches thick, and this garlic is already kind of coming through the surface. And over here, kind of the same story. We got some really tall garlic shoots. Now, all of my straw and hay bedding on here is held down by some chicken wire, just kind of lightly tacked all the way across, and that's to keep the chickens from getting in and tearing all this out until it's ready next year. But it makes it very difficult when it comes to getting weeds out of the corners or from underneath the wire. So, you know, it is what it is. So right now it's looking like a giant leaf pile. Promise you it would not be fun to roll around in. But this is going to be great for the garden. All right, so this is what I've got, and it is rich, obviously, with manure. So I won't plant directly in this because it's just, some of that manure is just too fresh and it needs time to break down a little bit more. But this will do that over the winter on our garden bed. So I'm not gonna film. So I still have all of this yet to go, and it's gonna take a hot minute to get through it all. But I am very happy with what I'm getting as a result, as you could see there a minute ago. So I'm gonna turn the camera off for a little while I work my way through this, because it's just gonna be a lot of the same. And yeah, then once we get this done, we'll see where the day leads us. So that has pretty much taken me all day. But that is about 2 yards, I would say, of very rich, well, now I'd call it soil. But I do have to give credit where credit is due. This video would not have been possible without the support of my little 4-legged friends. So this week, when I can, will be all about getting this spread out. I'm not going to put it too thick yet, because I do not know how much it's going to cover. But I can always go back through and add leaves on top of this and then till those in, which is probably what I'm going to have to do. Either way, this is going to cover and give me a lot of nutrient and keep it from packing, because I'm standing on it now and I got to tell you, it is definitely starting to compact down a little bit after that last rain. And the fact this was the first part of it that I wound up tilling up. All right, folks, it is like 6:30 and it is pitch black out here. This is just absolutely crazy, but hey, such is the life of daylight savings time. Those of you that haven't know exactly what I mean. I want to thank you guys for coming with us today. Noelle and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Y'all have a great night and we'll see you soon.